Like, give me 300 leads. I'm gonna bust out 300 phone calls. We'll get it done. But in the and this is what this is, right? Building a podcast, building a stage, building a platform, building a community. That means you're showing up consistently every single day. And is it called a Majo Day? I think it's a Majo Day. It's a term going back to the Greek times where people were literally evaluated based on how well they spoke. Right. And if you're an incredible speaker, like, you're a leader, right? And what shows up is the authentic you when you speak long enough. And so that's why I think in this space right now, a lot of people are losing because their authenticity, you can't fake that after a while. Like, you might be able to do something well for 90 seconds on a reel, but 5 days? Oh, we gonna know who you really are. We just
had that conversation. Ash just talked about that same exact thing. He was like, you can fake a webinar, but you can't fake 5 days.
You can't fake 5 days. And so, like, what's interesting, even from the challenges that I've had a chance to do with other people, like, people hit me up afterwards and they're like, yeah, that person was pretty good, but, like, we really enjoyed the other people that were on the challenge. And I'm like, wow, that's really interesting.
Right.
That's really interesting. Do you know a kid named Elijah Bowie?
I don't know.
You might want to get him on here. So he's actually my sales coach.
Okay.
And he's younger than me, but the kid is phenomenal. Oh, we're rolling?
Yeah.
Oh, just keep talking?
Yeah, let's do it.
Just keep talking. Kid is phenomenal, bro. Phenomenal. And he has a very, very matter-of-fact approach to selling, but his 5-day challenge is only him. And so what I've noticed with a lot of influencers now, they're including a lot of people, which will work for them, but I'm wondering long-term if it's going to be sustainable. Because people eventually, they're like, I want you. Because guess what? On the fulfillment side, it's, I want you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
I think, I mean, what we do with the side of, like, bringing in special guests and stuff, like, we always tell them, you want to control the conversation that's happening in your virtual event, right? So you're running a virtual event, you're running a virtual conference. How can you need to keep that? Yeah, bring in guest speakers.
For sure.
Like, because that's going to bring, like, we pay people sometimes to come on and speak for 10 minutes.
For sure.
Because, you know, the credibility is there. And so, but, like, the problem that you're seeing as well is, like, people, they bring on the guests and it's like, you're letting them speak 45 minutes. 100%. Like, why are you letting them speak 45? Like, this is your show, right? And
now
so
everybody's going to their email list. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And they're like,
so what do they do exactly?
Like, who's this Damon guy? I'm going to tap in with him. And so it's, I love, that's how actually I grew, bro. It was like, whenever I first started running virtual events and running 5-day challenges, I had zero list, nothing. I started teaching real estate to people because I was flipping houses. I would leverage other people's lists and let them come speak. But I would cap them, like, hey, 15 minutes, come in, share your story real quick. And actually, I started selling courses and stuff just by leveraging their audiences. But I like that. So we are very intentional about who we bring on our events and make sure our clients know, like, hey, like, you need to control this. Is your event. So
100%. Don't let it go. Don't let it go. Bro, it's so good that we're talking about this right now, because I even told my guy last night, like, everybody's playing this giant game of telephone, right? We're seeing people. What I mean by that, like, when we were little kids and we used to say something in somebody's ear, and then they would tell the next person and the next person, and by the time it got around to the room, it's completely different from what was originally said, right? And so I believe what's happening in the digital marketing space is people are hearing about the 5-figure day and the 6-figure day and the quantum leaps in income, but the challenge is they're hearing the what to do, but not the why or the how.
Right.
And that's what messed me up in the beginning. I'm like, okay, I've been in sales for 23 years. I know how to speak. I know how to communicate. I know how to persuade. And so I'm hearing about these events. And when I went into my first event, the reason I bombed is because I gave value. And there's this misconception in the space where it's like, give value, value, value. But the challenge is, I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm not an informational speaker. I'm not looking to inspire you. I don't actually convert you into what you need to change your life until I transform you. And that's what the event is supposed to do. And so what was happening—
That's what sales is, right?
That's exactly what sales is. Yeah. Well, I think it's a little bit different, right? Like, selling, I believe the definition is incorrect when people say selling is nothing more than transference of feeling. I don't know if that's true. Why? Because I believe that the only thing I'm doing when I'm selling somebody else is reminding them how important the thing is that they already desire. Key point. They already want that thing.
Right.
My responsibility is showing that my product, my service, my vehicle, my platform is their quickest, safest, and easiest way of getting that.
I like that.
Right? And so me giving a ton of value, I call that being malpractice, because you can't learn how to ride a bike in a webinar.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to teach you everything you need to know. And the problem is, if I give you a ton of value, you're going to mistakenly think that you know everything you need to know at the end of this 5 days to get the transformation you want. And technically, you won't. What do you need? You need saturation of the information. You need accountability. You need coaching. Have you ever read the book, bro? Shoot. It was by the Navy SEALs. Navy SEALs, I'm going blank right now.
There's a few out there, so I don't want to keep naming them off because there's a...
Yeah, I went blank. Give me 1 second. Shoot.
It happens, man. It happens.
What? Okay, give me 1 second.
What's the premise of the book? You'll think of it
Leadership.
when you start. Okay. You'll start thinking about it once you start talking
anyway,
about it.
the premise of the book, so Navy SEALs, obviously, they are the bad you know what, right? Like, they are the guys. And in this book, they're basically giving testimonials of missions that they actually had to complete, right?
That's
going overseas, doing everything that they need, like, incredible leadership book. What I say when it comes to something like that, if information was all we needed, we'd all be healthy, wealthy, and wise, right? There's more information out there than any of us knows what to do with.
Right.
You can Google how to get rich. You can YouTube how to get rich. But I can't read a book that Tiger Woods created on golf and automatically shoot par. I can't read a book that LeBron put out on basketball and automatically be the #1 scoring champion in the world. That doesn't happen. So
I've seen your basketball game online, dude.
And
it's
I'm
not
actually
the
great.
He is really good, actually. So,
is this one of my?
Yeah, that's one of your cameras there.
Don't none of y'all want smoke. Okay, let's be clear. So in this book, Extreme Ownership is the book. It's called Extreme Ownership.
Yeah.
Thank you. I knew it was going to come to you. So in the book, what I ask people is, if I was to read that entire book on how to achieve a mission, if my daughter was kidnapped, my baby girl, 10 years young, Journey Dillard, right? If someone was to kidnap her, take her to a far country, what would be my odds of not only surviving, but recapturing her and helping her survive? Probably 0 in 100. Very little, right? Very little. I think somebody said on one of my events, like 0.00. And I said, wait a minute, I am from the hood. Like,
I will find you.
Yeah.
I will kill you, right?
Yeah. I will find you. But guess what? If those same Navy SEALs were to say to me, okay, Damon, you read the book, but I want you to come with us for 90 days. I want you to not only catch it, but I also want to teach it to you. I want to show you, you don't squeeze the trigger or pull the trigger. This is how you actually do it. This is how you walk into certain rooms. What would be my odds of survival then? So the objective of the event is to introduce you to the you can become. But now after that, I need a mentor. Why? Because we only learn through mistakes or mentors. We only learn through pain or people. And so for me in my life, bro, I was going through so much pain for a point. I said, you know what? I'm going to buy somebody else's experiences. Right now, we bought the experiences of Edison. Edison had 9,999 other experiences that did not work. We're going to pay for those and enjoy light. And that's what an event is supposed to do for your audience. So, yeah, bro.
Welcome, guys, to the $1 Million Seekers podcast.
Let's go.
So we were just sitting here talking and having some really amazing conversations. Yeah. And I told the team, I was like, is this rolling? And they're like, no. And so they cut it on. So, dude, welcome to the show. I know that was just 5-10 minutes of straight value.
Yeah.
Guys, I have Damon Dillard on with us. I've known this guy for about a year, 2 years now. And when I say this guy shows up with passion, when I say this guy shows up with energy, that's an understatement. I've seen this guy speak to hundreds and thousands of people, and what he can do when he steps into a room is mind-blowing. He's amazing at mindset, amazing at sales, and this guy isn't just one that talks about it, but he lives it, which is why I brought him on the show. And so if you're a coach, if you're consulting, whoever, a digital entrepreneur, listen to what this guy has to say, because it's changing people's lives. And you guys just got a snippet of that. So,
my man Tucker, come on, let's get it. Let's get it. My God.
So listen, on this show, we talk about a lot of stuff. I want to talk about your voice. How'd your voice get so deep, bro? Like, you're like,
man, I don't know.
You're not even that tall.
Yeah, I bought it from Kmart. Yeah. A lot of the young kids, they don't even, Kmart, what is that? Yeah. Another story for another day.
No, this guy, he has an amazing voice. And so one thing I know that Damon can do very well is move the masses. I'm gonna like, you need to buy that domain. Do you have that domain?
Move the Masses?
Move the Masses.
Yeah, don't air this until I get that.
Okay, go buy that domain, because this dude, I've seen him, for example, I think 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago we had an event, and he stepped in. There was about 100, 200 people, maybe more than that. I can't remember, but a few hundred people.
Man, there was a lot of people in there. Yeah.
So we run virtual events for our clients, and he came in and did like a mindset teaching, and he had people crying, people shouting, people taking copious notes, right?
Copious
notes. Yes. And I'm like, how do you do that? So let's talk about that today. I didn't know what this conversation was going to look like, but I want to talk about, like, how are you able to move the masses like you do? You step into a Zoom room.
Yeah.
Like, it's easier. Okay, I'm going to be honest. For somebody like you, you're good at what you do. It's probably a little easier in person. But how do you step in virtually and move people to take action, move people to step out of their comfort zone and think differently, act differently, all through like a Zoom and a camera screen like this?
Yeah. Care about people, bro. Like, I love people. Like, I want to see people win in a major, beautiful way. And so to know where I am now, you got to also know where I came from. I consider myself to be an expert at this, right? I think Malcolm Gladwell said in Outliers that it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert at anything. Oh, I've put the time in, right? First and foremost, the way I was raised in the religion that my mother brought me up in, it's called being a Jehovah's Witness. And as a witness growing up, literally every Thursday night, Tuesday night, Sunday night, and Saturday morning, right? I was one of those guys knocking on your door.
You were knocking on doors, all right.
Listen, I've been knocking on old people's doors since I was born, right? And so what's interesting is in that religion, there's one meeting every single week called the Theocratic Ministry School. And it's literally a school that teaches you how to speak. And so since the age of 5, I've been in front of 100, 200, 300 people being evaluated, watch this, on a 5-minute pitch. Think about this. You may be trying to sell somebody on your products or services. Imagine trying to sell them on life. Like, here's the life decisions that change your destiny.
We should have him do that 5-minute pitch. What do you think?
Yeah. So what it would be an introduction. You would cover a scripture, and then you would do your close. I would sit down and they would say, okay, your tonality was this, your gestures were this, your body language was this. I didn't know they did this. Yes, man. And so I literally learned through that. Then I kind of discovered, I was like, okay, not only is this a gift, but this is something that I have to build. This is a skill set. Right. This is something that I want to grow in. And so I think the misconception that a lot of people have is either when they see you or me or incredible speakers, they think we were born that way, right? I think you have a talent, but skill is only developed over time. And so when I get on these events, man, I don't just say a bunch of words. Like, what I've had to do, not only through coaching, through mentorship, but understand that there is a specific strategy behind how to move momentum in a crowd. And so what you'll notice, I do the same thing every single time. I want to get people to learn a different way of learning. Because how we were conditioned to learn was really sitting down, sitting in school, raising our hand. Right. But technically, how we were created, that's not how you learn the best. You learn through immersion. You learn through activity. You learn through your physiology. And so the first thing that I want to get people to do is to move. Right. And so you know what I do. In the beginning, we're high energy, high income, right?
You guys should see it. It's fun. It's fun. Yeah. Like, so what's your big statement you always tell them? High what?
High energy, high income.
Love it.
Yeah, why because it's a principle. It's a principle. Everybody gets onto a meeting because there's something they want, i.e. a result. I got on this meeting because I'm looking to earn more money. I got on this meeting because I want to retire my wife. I want financial liberty, right? And so if you want a higher result, the one thing that you have to learn is a simple principle, right? If you practice the principles, you can participate in the promise. If you learn a simple principle, guess what? I don't care whether you're black, white, rich, poor, ugly, cute, doesn't matter. It works every single time. And so the principle is a high vibrating result can never flow to a low vibrating source.
Say that one more time.
A high vibrating result can never flow to a low vibrating source.
So you say people are, like, I just want to break that down. So you're saying maybe people are, their energy's not high enough to accept
100%. Their energy's not high enough to attract it.
Yeah,
because everybody's, well, if you haven't seen The Secret, right? That was one of the first movies, personal development wise, that my mentor had put me onto. Right. And so in The Secret, they say like attracts like. Well, there's a higher law called the law of vibration. And I mean, we're not talking about woo-woo or esoteric. Like, these are scientific. This is what God put in place, right? These are real things. And so if I learn how the system of living works, I can almost manipulate it into my favor. And so the law of vibration states, once again, like attracts like. So I'll give you an example. It's not I get what I want out of life. It's I get how I feel. So think about that. When I was in sales door to door, I always remembered, if I knock on somebody's door, technically, I don't know what's going on the other side. They may have just come out of a conversation that was discouraging to them. They may feel depression, anxiety. They may feel the weight of their bills on them. They got 101 things going on. But my objective is to deliver something to them that could change their life. You can't even receive what I say until you're in the right mind frame. And so what I have to do is pre-frame my audience immediately to say, hey, wait a minute, real quick, just out of curiosity, let me see if I got the right message for the right crowd. Who in the room is looking to make more money in a single day than you made in the last year? Say I am. Now they're all like, I am. Or they'll go ahead and, throw an emoji in the chat, but they're still paying attention to Instagram. And I'm like, what? No, wake up. Hello? Hey. I know I'm not here to waste your time, right? Because commitment only shows up in two places. It either shows up in your bank account or in your calendar. And so you may be giving me time right now, but can I get something better that you have to pay? It's called attention. That's why they say it's called paying attention. All right. So let me ask again. I'll ask again and get the same response. So here's what happens, Michael. They don't understand why I'm asking them to give more energy. So you got to tell them why. And so ultimately, to answer your question, I'm building momentum. There is a buying momentum that helps you convert more at the end of your offer. And I learned the hard way because I taught my brains out on many events. And you know, one of the worst things that happen at the end of the event is for everyone to say, man, you gave me tremendous value. Thank you so much. You changed my life forever. And I'm like, your life has changed, but my bank account isn't. And I love you, but I know you're not going to get the result you want because there's no real commitment there.
Right. Man, so many gems. So many gems. I want to go back to something you said at the very beginning.
Yeah.
You were talking about the 10,000 hour rule.
For sure.
Right. And I look back at the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey, and I tried everything, bro. I tried stock trading, Amazon drop shipping. You guys know all those Facebook ads. I was clicking. I was making their cost per lead cheap.
Come on.
Right. And so I look back and I'm like, nothing was working because I didn't work. And so I was like, I remember going in, for example, stock trading. Tim Sykes. I don't know if you know who that guy is. He's like the biggest day trading guy.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna learn from this dude. I learned for a month, maybe 2 months max, lost like $300. And I was like, hey, this isn't for me. And I ditched. But I look back and what I did succeed in was real estate eventually. And it was because I committed, right? And I committed. And I look back and I was like, I became an expert at real estate. I didn't make my first check. Actually, the first deal I lost $30,000, something like that. And so I look back and I'm like, the reason I did succeed is because I pushed past that failure. And I became an expert either way, regardless of the temporary results. And so I think some of you guys you're watching right now, the reason why you aren't where you want to be right now, there's probably multiple factors, but it could be that you just haven't stuck to it long enough.
Come on.
You haven't became the expert. You haven't spent, I'm not saying you have to spend 10,000 hours, but you have to spend enough time doing the right thing.
Come on.
For it to find results. But anyways, I just want to hit on that because I love that.
Amen, brother.
I love that, man. And so building, you said there's many gems there you dropped about moving people, being intentional with what you're saying. Because you said it's not just about giving value, right? That's what everybody says.
Oh, no.
Everybody says give value, which I understand to a point, like on the reels and things of that nature, you're giving value.
Yeah.
So like on virtual events or you're running webinars or challenges, they shouldn't just give value. Yeah, or like what would you say the percentage of value versus like selling or like, is it, I don't know. I'm just asking an open-ended question here.
So you're actually not going to get any value from me at all about what you think you came there for. My objective in the event is to help you to become the person that takes advantage of my offer. In other words,
is that manipulation?
Here's what's interesting. Manipulation also means change. And so absolutely, I am looking to manipulate your mind for you to make the decision that's in concert with where you truly want to go. And so, like, I'll give you this example. Like, I got on, I don't know if y'all can see my sneakers, but I got some, there's some pretty exclusive J's, Jordan 1s. I try out here. But guess what? Nobody ever had to convince me to get these shoes. No, nobody ever had to say, can you please go to a webinar to see the value in getting the Jordan 1s? Why? Because I am someone who wears Jordan 1s. The most popular, most successful company of our time is who?
Amazon. I mean, you're talking about this successful company. There's
Apple.
Okay.
I'm
sorry, man. I'm not versed in that.
Next time, right? But I was doing a little research on Apple. I thought Apple was a very interesting company because I also wanted to, I believe success leaves clues, right? And so I was studying one of the most successful men of all time.
I'm going to pause there. Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
It's okay.
We just got done recording another episode. The same person just said the same thing.
Oh yeah, because the truth always sounds the same.
That's deep.
Yeah.
All right, continue. I'm sorry. I'm interrupting your flow here.
So the truth is simple. It's lies that are complicated. And so if you hear the same thing over and over, that is a truth. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, man. I'm just dwelling here. I'm hearing the same thing from multiple successful entrepreneurs, people that I would consider successful. And it's just like, wow.
Bro, I want to find somebody who's already done it. Listen, Einstein said it best. He said the problems that you currently face in your life cannot be resolved at the same level of thinking that created them. So guess what? Even if I read a book, watch a podcast, listen to something, it's still my thinking that's getting me to the next level. No, there's more caught than taught. And so I need a mentor. I literally can't go to the next level in my life without having a mentor. I tell people all the time, your mind needs two things. It needs a hero and it needs a focus, because I'm going to catch what you're doing more than what you're teaching me. And so 99% of good coaching is going to be counterintuitive. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I don't even remember what your original question was. But
we were talking about value.
Oh yeah. Value. So this is what I was saying. I was studying a very successful man. Maybe you've heard of him, Warren Buffett.
Yep.
Okay. Billionaire, multi-billionaire, very successful. Yeah. And what I was trying to figure out is, okay, what clue is he leaving behind his success? Watch this. Someone asked him, what's your daily routine? Warren Buffett says, there's a few things I do, but one of the main things I do that attributes to my success, we're talking about a billionaire here.
Right.
He said he reads 6 to 8 hours a day.
That's a lot of reading.
That's a whole lot
for
of
me
reading.
Anyway. I don't know how much you read.
I'm not reading 6 to 8 hours a day. I'm not even listening to something. So I was like, okay, next question. What are you reading? And so in the interview, it said that what he typically reads, catch this, is the 1962 Ford financial statement.
1962 Ford.
Now the question is why?
Yeah.
Because that year, Ford was extremely successful, probably the most successful they've ever been. Now, when I dug a little bit deeper, I said, okay, well, why is that? He said, because success has no expiration date. Bingo. So here's what I did. I Googled most successful company of our time. Guess who? Apple.
Gotcha.
We're talking about a $3 trillion market cap company. Listen, can somebody say gangsta? Like, gangsta. Can you imagine having more liquid assets on hand than the government of the country you're doing business in?
That's crazy when you say it that way.
Like, that's wild.
That is wild.
And so I said, okay, how are they selling? Number one, they optimize their sales process. And so the reason why a lot of people aren't making the money that they could is because their sales process isn't optimized. Number two, and this is to your point, what exactly am I doing in my event? Am I giving value, or like, what is it? I'm doing what Apple did. What does Apple do in their events? They sell people on their point of view. If my point of view in my event is the best way for you to have a 6 or 7 figure day is by learning to sell and by holding a virtual event, the only thing I need to be doing that whole time is giving you an opportunity to buy into my belief and my viewpoint that virtual events and selling is your quickest, easiest, and safest route to get what you want out of your life.
Yeah, that's deep. Russell Brunson, I was watching a video. He talks about building mass movements.
Come on.
And he said the same thing. He said, you need a charismatic leader, right? Or attractive character. You've heard that. He said, you need to have a new opportunity.
Yes.
And the last one was, it's blanking my mind. It was like a forward focus or something like that, like a vision, right?
Yes,
so
100%.
And so what you're saying is lined up directly with that, right? So you're saying getting them to buy in what you believe.
Yes.
And your processes, right? Is that right?
Yeah, my point of view.
Your point of view.
If I believe that my thing is the best thing since sliced bread, I believe all we're doing in these virtual rooms is we are one beggar telling another beggar where we found food.
Right.
And a lot of people are a little bit hesitant to even do their virtual event. I'm like, why would you be hesitant? Listen, I believe somebody said it best. The shy salesman has skinny kids. Is that it? Listen, if I knew that what's the nearest freeway? What, 19? We're in ATL. If someone told me at 2:00 in the freaking morning that there was a gold bar truck, right? An armored truck that was over on the side of the road, and gold bars were everywhere. And the authorities said, whoever can help us pick this up in the next 15 minutes gets to keep 10% of the earnings. Do you think I'm going to call my friends and family and say, hey guys, so if you have some time? No, I'm yelling. I'm sending a message to everyone I love. And I'm wondering, do you believe in your solution enough to even help someone else believe in themselves?
That's a bar, man. That's a bar.
And I think a lot of people
that's just not
are
a virtual
wasting
event.
time.
That's not
That's
just
everything, bro.
Everything.
You said it best, 10,000 hours. It's not me doing 10,000 hours in an event. It's me living this. Like, nobody can sell me their dream on anything and me not immediately say, okay, let's write it down. Okay, can we put a date of completion on that? Okay, what are the first 3 steps that you're gonna take to actually get there? Okay, what are some of the biggest challenges you're having right now? What are the obstacles that we need to overcome to get there? Hey, who's gonna help you stay accountable to these things?
Right.
Let's put a plan in place, because if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Let's make it happen.
Man. This is exciting.
You get excited, bro?
I love this guy.
Let's go.
Let's go.
On,
I really do
something.
because I'm passionate about helping people get their message out.
Let's go.
And so everything you're saying is what could help people get their message to the masses, like we were saying, and that passion piece.
Yeah, man.
That passion piece. So many people, and I'm going to be honest, sometimes I'm like that. I'm not one of those, I can be like bubbly on a camera and stuff, but like I'm pretty like standoffish and stuff, but I see so many people trying to reach the masses and trying to get their voice out there. And it's like, bro, what are you doing? Like, you gotta live life with some passion. You gotta actually make them believe, like you're saying, that what you have is good. And so if you guys are running virtual events, you're running webinars, challenges, I don't care if you're selling anything or trying to persuade people to make a positive decision, you gotta have some passion in it, right? 100%. You have to figure out a way to do that. And so we actually ran an event a while back called Build Your Tribe Live. And so we were teaching people how to build your tribe. And when you share with passion like that, you're ultimately going to be able to build your tribe and attract the right people, because you're going to have people. I mean, you look at the biggest influencers, biggest leaders, biggest people ever, like, to lead movements. It was like they shared a vision passionately and people attached onto it.
100%.
And I just met with a good guy, Terrence Lester. He's here inside of ATO.
Okay.
He built a nonprofit. It took him he was sharing, he's like, man, I built this nonprofit. It was like 4 years of sacrifice without getting paid. I'm like, who would do that?
Yeah.
Who would build a nonprofit for 4 years without getting paid?
Come on.
But it was because he had such a vision, such a passion for something. And now Johnny, who's here in the studio, he knows his organization is built off volunteers.
Come on.
It's internationally known.
Yeah.
COVID, they blew up, but it's because they're passionate about their organization, about helping people that are displaced and helping them get back into life and getting back. So, I mean,
that's so good, bro.
Yeah. So
can I speak to that real quick?
Go for it.
Because a lot of people are asking, like, well, Damon, I haven't found my passion. And there's this word floating around in our space. Well, this is my purpose. Right. And I think people need to be really intentional about words, right? Like, stop being lazy with your language. Why? Because the entire world was created with words, right? I'm a believer, so I'm not here to push my religion upon anybody else. But listen, I think one of the greatest books on learning how to live life is called Basic Instructions Before Leaving Earth, the Bible, right? And in 1 John, it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. What does that mean? The genesis, the beginning to any area of your life will start with a word. And so many people know that life and death is in the power of the tongue, but they're not even positive about the words they're speaking and what they're creating. Does this make sense?
100%.
So when I look at the word purpose, if we were to define just that word, it means the original intent. Original reason why this thing was created, right? I got my cell phone down here somewhere, and I like to ask people, hey, would this cell phone work if a spider was to crawl across here right now? Would I be able to smash it and kill it? Of course, right? It will work. It's heavy enough. It's big enough. It will do the job. It will do the job. But the question is that what it was made for? And so a lot of people are stuck between career and calling because they're doing a job. But their question is, what am I made for? Well, I think there's 3 very simple questions to ask yourself. Number 1, what would I do for the rest of my life, whether I got paid to do it or not? Can anybody tell what I would do? I've been getting in trouble since early, right? I've been in peak every day. Because why? Boy, you talk too much. Now it takes care of a lot of people's bills, right? Number 2, what comes easy for you but hard for other people? Guess what? For me, for whatever reason, it's naturally come. If somebody gives me a topic, I'm going to be able to disseminate the information. I'm going to be able to articulate it. I'm going to be able to put it in a way that is easy to understand for whoever I'm speaking to. But here's number 3, and I believe this is the piece that a lot of people are missing to turn their passion into profit. And that is, what is your source of agitation? In other words, what do you see in the world that's a source of injustice that pulls on your heartstrings? Like, what's that one thing you and I walk into a room, you notice it, but I don't?
And it doesn't have to be something like, because I know what you're saying. Is people be like, well, I'm not like sex trafficking, right? Like that's one thing. People are like, man, I'm passionate. Like that's ridding that. Is there like, is it have to go that deep, or like, what do you?
Not necessarily. I heard Russell Brunson say it best at a recent event. He said, who were you 5 years ago? And so you already know in one of his books, he talks about the Epiphany Bridge. Right. So in other words, when things drastically changed in your life, where were you to how did you get there now? And so for me, it doesn't necessarily have to be this big, elaborate sex trafficking, children's hunger. For me, it was people lacking in confidence. Why? Marianne Williamson said it best. She said, what would you do if you knew you could not fail? Then she said, a miracle is nothing more than a change in perspective. So wait a minute, my life was broke with multiple O's, driving a 92 Saturn, which a lot of y'all don't even know what that is, right? It was rented. I didn't know how to drive a stick shift, so I was burning up the clutch up and down the road, right? It was so bad that you had to fill it with transmission fluid and oil every few miles for it to even run. I'm going to different places asking people for money for my rent. How do you go from there, Damon, to creating a $6 million a year company? Like, how does that happen? Confidence. There's no way it could be that simple. It's confidence. In other words, my ability to confide in myself. Well, how do you build confidence, Damon? Keeping the word that you make not only to others, but to yourself. Because the word belief, right? Another scripture, all things are possible to those that believe. All things, not some things, not small things, not some of the time, not maybe. All things are possible. So wait a minute. If I believe in myself, which belief means to accept something as true. You catching the correlation? Right. Belief, to accept something as true, me being able to trust me, confidence. If I build my confidence, no matter what it is I attempt to do, I'll see it through. So when you said, man, I lost 20 grand on the first deal, you were building your confidence. Right. Why? Because behind any intention, there will be disruption. Behind anything you're building, you're automatically going to see failure first. It's literally testing the authenticity of your dream. It's asking you, hey, Tucker, is what you want what you really want? Because you have to build the fortitude. You have to build the perseverance. You have to build the skill set. Right. And that's what we teach people to do. So
you're saying that maybe people just haven't, I'm just going back to the example of me flipping houses, right? Yeah. Maybe I was just building my confidence. So some of the people watching or listening, they just need to spend more time building that confidence.
100. And here's the other problem. A lot of people think confidence is built through watching a video. But confidence is built through affirmations. Listen, I believe in all of that stuff. I think that's extremely important. That is reconditioning your mind. However, confidence is built in something very simple that most people avoid. repetitive action. I got good enough because I did it long enough while it was horrible.
Right.
Period. The first podcast I was ever on, do you think I did good? No, it was like, do I look in this camera? Am I too close? Is it right? Like, it was horrible. So Damon, how did you get, because I kept going. And so you said something a little bit earlier. I don't even know if we were filming, bro, but we were talking about people wanting instant gratification. There's an incredible book. It's called The 12-Week Year.
Okay.
And it says in there that probably 99% of people could 5x their current income by doing one thing and one thing only. Actually doing what they already know how to do. And what we get caught up in is this cycle of learning new information. We become archaeologists of personal development. And so we know all the quotes, we know all the books, we know all the podcasts, but we just haven't applied anything we know.
No, that makes, would you say in your experience in sales, like they've only, somebody told this, I'm getting your opinion.
Yeah.
They said the difference between those that go from 100,000 to $1 million or $1 million to 5 is that they just keep doing the same thing, but do it more. Would you say that's true? Like they maybe do the same actions that got them there, just a little bit more.
Man, okay, so I'm going to take this back to belief, right? I got to take it back to belief because I asked my mentor that same question. We were talking about our goal, and I love my guy. Shout out to DI, David Monetier. I met him in 2013 when I was broken, bro. And I asked him one question because at the time he was making about $300,000 a month. That's documented. Yeah. He showed me. And I asked him, I said, man, what's the difference between you and everybody else that's not succeeding? He said, nobody believes the way that I do. And so that put me down the path of studying belief. And I used to read books like Claude Bristol, The Magic of Believing. I was listening to Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret, right? I'm reading The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. And I'm learning this idea of believing. Years later, I said, we were on a private jet. Listen, I'm not that guy, but I'm just trying to say how my life had changed.
You mean you didn't fly your jet down here?
No. He rented that. Let's be clear. All right, so family trying to ask me for a loan? No, not me. So anyway, so I asked him, I said, what was the biggest difference? What was the biggest transition you had to make mentally to go from $100,000 a year to $1 million a day, right? And he said, Damon, I told you that no one believes the way that I do, but it's really that nobody's belief is as disciplined as mine.
Okay. So
the difference is what you ask me is what should they be doing? But the challenge is you've heard the success formula, be, do, have. If I do more of what I'm currently doing, I'm really going to create more of the same. Me creating a quantum leap in my life to have something more starts with the foundation of be.
Okay.
In other words, who am I being? What am I believing? What is my identity? And so I say it like this. Do I believe that I am a $5 million a year person? Because if I believe that, I don't have to try to do anything. And I think, honestly, the misconception is if I do more of the same, I'm going to make more money. No, you're going to be more tired.
Right.
Bro, when I started in sales, I was knocking 26 doors a day, working 14 hours a day, right? Knuckles bloody. I'm driving 6 hours to different cities to go see my clients. If I was doing that right now, I wouldn't be able to sit here with you.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But my belief had to change in order for what I was doing to change.
And when your belief changes, did the action change?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It has no choice but to change. Because if I see myself as a different person, there's different things I'm gonna do. People can tell right now, like not to gloat or brag or anything, but like I'm in shape. How can you tell that? Just from how I look. So guess what? There's different actions that I had to take in order to get to that place. Period. Why? Because I believe that I am fit. Some people believe they're fat and they're wondering why they can't lose weight. I hope I didn't lose anybody.
I'm just taking this all in, man. I'm like sitting here, I'm like, did I sign up for this? Like, I'm like blown away, like not in a bad way. I'm just like, man, like this came out of nowhere. So no, this is cool.
Yeah, you got to believe something different, man. Yeah. I can keep going down that vein.
Okay, let's talk about it. So these people, they're watching this, listening to this, they're saying, my belief sucks.
Yeah.
Like maybe I don't want to give an excuse for them, but maybe they're like saying my family always just talked this way to themselves.
Yeah.
I talk to myself this way negative. My belief isn't there. What would you tell people? Like, what would be the first step in helping them get their belief to that next level?
Man, first of all, I would congratulate them. Like, I would give them a virtual high five right now. Why? Because I believe awareness is so much better than knowledge. Like, you could be trying to do the right thing over and over and over, but when you realize that it's really your belief system, in other words, it's you, everything starts and ends with you.
Right.
And so once you become to an awareness of, there's something I want to change, you've already put yourself ahead of 95 to 99% of people. Like, I tell people on the challenges that I do the mindset calls for, like, yo, first and foremost, congratulate yourself for being here. You are already in the top 1%. And I think the challenge with many entrepreneurs is we don't give ourselves grace. Like, we're so ready to be at the 6 figures and the 7 figures and the 9 figures and the net worth of $1 billion. I'm like, wait a minute, bruh. Give yourself some grace. You are here. You are enjoy this moment, right? And so once they even get to that point, let's talk about believing. If you want to know what you currently believe, it's very simple. What are your current results? I give people 5 areas. What are the results in your personal life? What are the results in your financial life? What are the results in your business, your lifestyle, and the contribution you have to the world? Be very honest with yourself about where you currently are. Then once you do that, we can decide, okay, question for you. What do you really want? And you know what's crazy? I've trained over 700 sales professionals one-on-one, right? I mean, like, they're
one-on-one.
They're in my passenger seat. They're driving with me for 4 days straight, and I'm showing them from A to Z how to sell, right? And the first thing I do, Mike, is I ask them, what do you really want? In other words, what are your goals?
Right.
Do you know most people can't even write down 10 specific goals? But guess what? The reason why you're confused is because you can never hit a target you can't see. And so if you know where you are, let's figure out where we're going. Once you write down what you really, really want, the question is simple. What would you need to believe about yourself that you do not currently believe that would make that new life a reality? Simple. Let's talk about money. When I was only making $9 an hour moving furniture for a living, guess what? I had a belief about money. Money is hard to come by. I have to work hard for my money. A penny earned is a penny saved, right? Money doesn't grow on trees. There were beliefs that I had at that point.
Right.
I had to believe something different for my income to change before my income ever changed. Why? Because my actions would need to change. What was the new belief I adopted? Money comes to me easily and effortlessly. I am a money magnet. I am so happy and grateful now that I am earning $10,000 a month. I started to say these things to myself over and over. A great book for everybody to check out is called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Dr. Shad Helmstetter. Here's why. Because at the end of the day, 90 to 95% of the conversations you have are with you. And so if you aren't living your dream life, there's only one person that talked you out of it, you. And so guess what? If my mind literally works on memory or imagination, I have to continually feed myself my future, or I have no choice but to go back to my past.
Right.
And so to sum it up, figure out what you want, what beliefs you must establish. I want to pause right here, bro. This is called a hermeneutical loop, because with what we started with, we're ending with this right now. If you're going to change your beliefs, guess what has to change for your audience? Their beliefs. And so the same thing I'm talking about right now is the same thing that needs to happen if you're an influencer, if you're in sales, for you to do in your event to get someone to the point where they can take the next actionable step to get to where they want to be in their lives.
Sheesh. The team's shaking their head. They're like, man, this is deep. Man, I love this, man. And so like, I just want to know, because I don't want to keep you here forever, man. I know you got stuff to do. We got an event in town. So like, one parting word of wisdom for them, like what would you give people that are watching this, are digital entrepreneurs, coaches, course creators, maybe just have an online business? What would you take, like one last word for them as we're ending this out? They want to make more money online. What would you say?
I would say practice the principles. When I understood that building wealth was a mathematical equation, in other words, it is a principle, it is a law, just like gravity. It's time tested and proven. You can't argue with the law of gravity.
Right,
if I take you downtown Atlanta, I throw you off the top of a building, guess what? You're not going to float. You're not going to fly. You're going to fall.
Right.
What if I told you that there was a law to building wealth? And the law is your income will be in direct correlation to the value that you bring the marketplace. So whatever your income was in 2022, that was your value. Well, Damon, how do I become more valuable? Focus on building you. Get into personal self-development, read the books, attend the workshops, attend the seminars. But here's the most important thing. Be honest with yourself about yourself. I promise you, instead of you focusing on a million different areas to change or learning a million different skills, what's one principle that if you changed and applied right now would astronomically change your income? And for me, it was belief. And so I'd encourage everybody to study what to say when you talk to yourself, learn how to talk to you. I would encourage everybody to study Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret. I would encourage everybody to get into The Science of Getting Rich, chapter 4, 7, and 14.
You know this stuff. You've studied.
I study this stuff, bro. I love this stuff. And so get into that because everything that they want resides in who they can become. And if they understood their potential, bro, like I know whoever's watching this up to this point, their life is about to explode in such beautiful synchronicity. And I can't wait to hear about the results.
Love it, man. Listen, where can people find you at? Because we didn't really have a formal intro. Okay, so it was kind of like we just went into it. Yeah. So where can people find you at? And I would love to kind of share your mission with everybody.
Yeah, for sure. So you can find me on IG, Damon P. Dillard. Okay. I was on a podcast last night and they asked me what the P stood for. So I'll tell everybody, it is not periwinkle. Okay. It is Philip. Shout out Damon Sr. So you can find me on IG, Damon P. Dillard. I also have an academy. It's free on Facebook called the Elevated Income Academy.
Elevated Income Academy.
The Elevated Income Academy.
Is that around sales and mindset?
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, for sure. So if you're a coach, if you're a consultant, if you're a course creator, if you're a sales professional, if you're somebody that's like, yo, I'm tired of the 9 to 5. I want to exponentially increase my income. This is not just cap. It's not just fluff. We're going to show you practical ways to do that.
I need to get in that group, man. I'm not
Come
even
on.
there. I need to get in there.
We'd love to have you in there, bro.
Let's go. Well, guys, dude, thank you for being on here.
Thank
you. Guys,
man.
Go follow it. Follow him. Tap in with what he's doing. His social media, I can feel every time I watch a reel, or I can feel every time I watch a story, the belief this guy has. It's so true. Like in your lives, you do. I can feel it.
Thank you, man.
Go tap in with him because I think just you following him or being a part of his group, you're going to see that he lives what he's speaking about, and your life is going to be positively affected because of it. Thank you. Dude, I wholeheartedly believe you're going to be changing millions and millions. You're already changing thousands and thousands of people's lives.
Thank you, man.
But it's going to be big, man.
My brother,
I'm excited for you, dude. But
it's been an honor, bro. Been an absolute honor. Thank you for having me on, bro. You've always been a real one. And I just wanted to acknowledge you real quick, bro, before I get off of here. We had a chance to meet 2 years ago. And you put me in position for a lot of things. And I'm just very grateful for our relationship and friendship, bro.
Grateful as well, man.
For
Thanks.
Sure.
But guys, listen, we have podcast episodes like this drop every single week. So make sure to hit the subscribe button. Go ahead, follow. We have Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, everywhere. Listen, these shows are just for you guys. I'm literally investing my own cash to bring these people in. And my goal and my mission is just to help as many people as possible like you take your message to the masses, kind of like what Damon's doing. And, the show is one way we want to help you do that. So thanks, guys, for listening and watching the $1 Million Secrets podcast. Damon, my man, we'll see you later, bro.
Let's get it.
All right, let's go.
All right, now.
Peace.